swear to God, I will hold you in my arms.
is it, the OCS teams, the grand final. My name is Hysterics. Next to me is Mendrix, and all points preach to this. A nice little hidden reference there for you. We're in the grand final. We're in the best of 3 with Outlaws and Regicide, who have fought so hard to get to this final moment, Mendrix.
These guys really do have the reverse gauntlet ahead of them, and there will be members of the OPL waiting for them, so a grueling task ahead for them.
We make it sound like such a Warriors battle, but it has been a difficult split for Outlaws in the middle of it. You know, they have regained themselves. Beginning was fine as well. Regicide going undefeated, but unfortunately taking those 3 bans of the players and now having to field a 3rd roster for the split. It remains to be one of the most intense finals because we really just can't place our bets here.
That's right, and what's really crazy about this as well is that now it seems to be a little bit different because before Regicide were looking really strong. Now it's about them being able to play with this new roster, with this new team. Can they synergize with the short amount of time that they've had? Well, Outlaws looking very strong at the moment. They've got that bit of refinement coming through, so it's going to be an interesting match.
Okay, so Regicide have been the test for all teams in the OCS so far, with Outlaws being this team that could always play from behind, which I want to talk to you about a little bit later and kind of gauge where they're at with playing from a deficit. However, Regicide have been unable to adapt in games, and that's where the Knockside win came in against at least picking up 1 game in that best of 3 series. My question is, how are Outlaws going to adapt in their game, or how have they been adapting in these series?
So the big thing with the Outlaws specifically, as you mentioned, they tend to play from a deficit, and what's the problem with that is that, you know, it is a great trademark of a team to be able to play from behind, but I want to really see what they can do when they're ahead and if they're able to hold it, because then it becomes your game to win. If you buckle under that pressure, it becomes much harder for you to maintain momentum into further games. And as we're now no longer in a best of 1, then we're now in a best of 3 series, extra strategies come into play. So these guys have some interesting games ahead.
Well, without further ado, we're going to jump straight into the first champ select of this grand final with Regicide up in the top lane. Now can confirm that ZZZ is actually Paradise up in the top lane. So they've got Paradise, they've got Y, I think it's pronounced, who's in the jungle coming through as a big solo queue threat, and Chenny Boy. So Avant Pressure coming back into this lineup.
Yeah, some ex-OPL members coming into this, and I can't wait to see. Now, the big thing is that both these guys are not going to be in the same lane or won't have in solo lanes like they used to be, which means we have to wait until after laning phase to really see that magic come through, the synergy of the fact that they used to play together.
And Chenny Boy is not a support by trade, so I love this that he's going down into that role. Outlaws roster remains the same, and that's a really big point. Now, because of late supplement, I believe that Regicide will lose the first 3 bans. However, we'll get the last 2 of the second phase. So not all dead and gone in this first pick and ban phase. However, it is still really controlled by Outlaws because they get Redside game 1 and game 3, Mendrix.
Yeah, and what's really big about this in this specific game, since the bans are coming through, is that means they get 2 options at more priority picks because there'll be more on the board where they're not having these many bans available to them. So, Outlaws have a really big advantage in this first game, and it really comes down to the fact that you need to be on point when it comes time for you to really have your champion roster ready.
Now, they have focused the carries because going on Johnson's LeBlanc has been big. We know that up in the top lane, ZZZ, also known as Paradise, is a big Riven main, but also a big carry top laner as well.
That's right, and really now becomes a question, is Paradise, well, not really Paradise, is ZZZ going to adapt to the Regicide playstyle, which is typically your 1-4 competition, or will Regicide decide, you know what, we need to change our champion because we need to change our roster, the way we do things to adapt to what we have of our new sort of carry-style top lane?
They have been really good at picking these 1-4 comp team fighting into it compositions. So I love that you pull that up. I love that we're now looking at a top laner who could change all that and potentially change the composition. It will be first pick blue side. However, red side gets 2 picks, and at the moment there's a lot open for them.
Yeah, they've got a lot of different options available, and I can't wait to see what they pick up. I expect ZZZ to pick up a carry. I mean, it makes sense for them to actually get that off the board first. However, I would do like the idea if that perhaps they do decide to go for the Nocturne. Really doesn't give too much away, except you know there's going to be someone dark flying at your face in the game.
Normally a Lisa pick. We are going to come out of Champ Select. Unfortunately, just a bit of technical difficulties. We'll jump back into it shortly, however. I want to talk about why, right? So this jungler has been told that he has been a reflection of Lisa, and Lisa looks up to him and says, actually, this guy is on a comparative level to myself, one of the best OCS junglers. So if Y is looking strong, I don't see why he wouldn't, wouldn't pick up the Nocturne in that jungle to stimulate the old Regicide team composition.
And it does make sense. I mean, what I really do like about him specifically is a 600 LP challenger at the moment. So he has very solid performances in solo queue, and it's about transitioning that into the competitive play. And it is good to go with something that's comfortable, especially with those first game jitters. So if he is deciding to pick up that Nocturne, that means that we do see something, a bit of carry potential in that jungle. And it might mean Paradise is actually going to go in a tank instead.
Potentially see if that pick has followed through, because with the Regicide lineup, it has been pretty meta-based. You've seen Sick up in the top lane go for 2 top laners, and that's pretty much it. Maybe flex the Renekton now and then. But up in this top lane, you have Paradise. You have someone who can carry, and there's a lot of carry top laners up there. It's like, do we ban the Riven, or is there something else we have to worry about?
And it is come to there is more to worry about. I mean, we have seen Paradise actually absolutely pop off. By Paradise, I mean ZZZ actually pop off when it comes to him playing on the Jax as well. So all of a sudden, there's all these other champions that could go into the mix, which you have to be worried about, because Jax does pretty well into Fiora. I know she's off the board, but if you decide, you know, we want to run a carry top ourselves, he has the potential to carry you just by purely outbidding your lane with that skill matchup.
It feels like there's a bigger carry now, because Kedu was always that Ashe first pick. We're going in, we're going to get Kedu's Ashe, and there's no other ifs and afs about it. Now, there's another person on the board who could potentially take that first pick away, and Regicide might change their priorities.
And it really is a reflection of what they used to have specifically. I mean, when you do have such a strong Ashe player in Kedu, it makes sense for you to go for those 1-4 compositions, because he's able to get the picks with his Enchanted Crystal Arrow. He's able to really follow up, be a consistent damage threat the entire time through. And it makes sense for you to say, you know what, we'll go standard because it works with our team composition, it works with our strengths. But now that it's sort of changed around, is Ashe going to be as favorable? You can still play Ashe in a 1-3, just means that you're going to miss out on some mobility, which makes the composition strong.
And I mean, these guys haven't played together for long, however, they have done a bit of scrimming. But with Chenny Boy coming into this bottom lane, potentially Kedu not synergizing as well with his support like he did with Ayla anymore.
Yeah, that's right. And that is a big thing. I mean, one of the things I used to say, or one of the things I love to drivel on, is the idea that the bot lane is a marriage. And really, when you haven't had that much time together, you haven't synergized too much. I guess you could say they're in the honeymoon period, so we could see
Married
some surprises.
At first sight. Yeah.
You could see some major surprises coming through.
Well, honestly, it is a focus lane we have to look at. And another one is the mid lane, because it looks like Regicide's weakness right now. Top lane to be a carry. Jungle potentially better than Lisa himself. Bottom lane, you know, you have some pros down there. What about Johnson in that mid lane? We are going to jump back into Champ Select now. He's definitely someone we've got to look at, because Chaz is a menace subbing into this Outlaws mob roster, I was going to say, sorry.
Yeah, and it really is going to be up to Johnson to step up, make sure he can keep him under control. And really the thing is that it does throw a bit of a spanner into the works if he manages to get himself a bit of those lane priority. And I think they actually already picked it up. I mean, if you're looking at that, that is a Syndra on the board already for Outlaws. So definitely strong for Chaz to get that specifically, because the big reason for that is there's not that many people that can stand up to Syndra in lane.
Well, I mean, Chenny Boy is an ex-pro, so prioritizing at Lulu is no surprise from Regicide. Picking up the Shen Syndra, I like the composition already. I like the global map pressure that they've decided to put on Little Cop this game.
Yeah, and Shen is just a really big pick at the moment. We saw it have great success internationally. Has seen it have great success in the OPL as well, and it really is just something that allows you to make great plays early around the map, because you can just pile 4 people down there immediately, put a shield onto one of them, and he does a great job of just allowing that to snowball out of control.
Now, we know Scam has been looking at the Graves more often than not. Regicide locked that one in without a second thought. Big carry in that jungle. They will be flexing this Ezreal as a potential, which has had some rising pick progress.
I really do like the idea of having an Ezreal Lulu lane. Those two are very strong and very safe. Particularly, you do pretty much can sit there. No one can really challenge you, and if you do happen to fall behind, you have that get out of free jail card, which is the wild growth from Lulu.
So you think Kedu and Chenny Boy, good starting lane, maybe a comfortable pick to sort of set them off in this game number 1. I like the way you think, but I want to see the response. We know that Walaris has been a great bard, but the Nami is a more better responser for the meta at the moment.
And it just makes sense. When you do have a harassing lane, you want to be able to have something that can actually sustain through it, and Nami is known great for that. A great counter pick into Karma also does well against the Lulu, so it makes sense for him. You know what? We're going to go for something a bit more sustained focus to deal with that fact that you've got so much poke.
Fortunately, it won't be the Nocturne is what I want to come back to at the very start. But now in this second Champ Select, the AD carry is going to be massive here, because Outlaws have banned away Kedu's Ashe in the first pick rotation. What is left available for this, the best AD carry arguably on the OCS?
So one of the big things that you can do, you can go for the Lucian, a bit more of a carry meta in practice. Does all right against the Ezreal, because he's able to jump around left, right, and center, which is a pretty good deal for him to go over that. But I mean, it really does come down to a lot of, different options. Caitlyn's still on the board. She's great when she set up those traps, and the meta has opened up a fair bit. You still have your Varus, you still have your Jins. They're still effective, but it's going to be, it is a sort of open smorgasbord, even with Ashe off the board.
Yeah, sorry, I should reiterate, Kedu does have the Ezreal. I'm talking about Rain here, but Rain has a massive champion pool. Like, we know he's flexible on so many champions. Has played the Draven, has played the Vayne as well.
That's right. Even a Vayne. I think you said, did you say Vayne before?
Yeah, Vayne. I said Vayne, my friend.
There you go, Vayne. But even Logmore, something
off.
that you can actually take into account as well.
Yeah.
Something that's actually been picking up a lot of popularity. Is a bit unfortunate they don't have the Lulu to really maximize that as well, because the Juggernaut comp is always something that's a bit timeless, I feel, to a degree, because it is easy to execute on a death ball composition. You sort of just group as 5 and just keep running it somewhere until you make it work.
But it looks like the Safari Hunter will be playing it safe for Outlaws. Going for Rain will be locked in the end of the day. So still a Nami, Caitlyn playing very safe in this early laning phase.
Yeah, that's a very strong lane as well. A lot of lane priority put in those bot lanes for both these guys. So they should even each other out. And it might be up to the junglers to really make something happen.
Okay, so do you think that the last jungle pick for Outlaws, I mean, going against the Graves, Lee Sin is open for scam, but so is Ivan, which is one of his comfort picks.
That's right. Now, I really would prefer him to go for the Lee Sin. Lee Sin typically does very well into Graves. It comes down to, again, the sort of Wild West. Who gets the first drop? If Lee Sin is able to land his Resonating Strike, he'll pretty much win that first up. If not, if it is going to be Graves, he will be able to blind him, ironically, and then afterwards be able to take the win from that.
Well, up in the top lane, not going to be a carry for ZZZ. Paradise instead opting in for something a little bit safer, something to support his team composition. Nautilus gets locked in, but 10 seconds left remaining. We need a mid laner. Vladimir has been constantly banned in the OCS and internationally. This gets locked in, it's no big surprise.
Yeah, a lot of priority has been picked up onto Vladimir in recent weeks, as a lot of the laners have been sort of nerfed to a degree in the mid lane. So you've seen Orianna come back with a little bit of favor. Vladimir is someone who's just returned with a vengeance, and this guy, although he's a bit slow to start, becomes an absolute tyrant towards the end of the game as he's able to sustain and just run straight into the whole team. And you do have a Lulu to sort of follow up afterwards after he does go into his pool.
I love the team composition here from Regicide, and it's no big surprise that to even things out, Scam goes for the front line. You've got a double front line on both teams. Plus, if you count the Vladimir, I mean, he is going to go AP, but he's still quite beefy up in that front.
Yeah, that's right. And it's because he's able to sort of just get a little bit of extra HP off his passive as time goes on.
And like you said, the Lulu ultimate as well.
Exactly. And he'll be able to just jump into it immediately as soon as he come out of that pool, even though he's lost a little bit of HP. You've got the Lulu ultimate. You do have the follow-up of the CC afterwards. So there is a lot of different things going for these teams specifically. I reckon on Regicide, they've got a much more heavy dive composition, whereas Outlaws are looking to make again, they also have a bit of a dive composition in their own right, but I think they're trying to make it more work around skirmishes, whereas Regicide want to bring it to that late game and take it to team fights.
And I mean, Johnson here, a champion to play it safe, go against Chaz's Syndra, which has been a menace. Joining the Outlaws lineup a little bit late, coming into the semi-finals, but absolutely performing off of his mind. The Scam DD pick up something like the Rek'Sai, it's kind of helping him out and saying, look, let's put some more resources on where it matters most.
Yeah, and it does help him out a fair bit. If he does manage to get the knockout, well, I'm sorry, the knockout. The knock up.
No. I like
knock
knockout.
Up before he's
like
the knockout. Yeah, then they'll be able to deliver the knockout, unleash power.
Game over.
Game over. Onto Vladimir before he has the chance to use his pool, become untargetable, avoid the majority of that damage. And it is going to be a bit of a game of synergy between these two and who's going to be really reacting and on point today.
And I'm glad to see Little Cop back on a champion like the Shen. He has a rapid rate of improvement. And the Shen for him just looks like an all-round safe pick, Mendrix.
The Shen is just a stock standard at the moment. I feel that if you want to be in top lane, he's a staple that you do need to learn at the moment. The fact of it is, if your team overextends, if your team goes a little bit too far, you're doing very well. He's going to be able to go, yep, no worries, I put a shield on top of you. You know what? We can re-engage this if I manage to land this taunt. Otherwise, it's okay. I'm a fairly tanky champion on right. I'll drop down that shield, make sure I can avoid most of the damage and walk away with a safe lane.
All right, so I want to know the priority here because, of course, going on the Rek'Sai to help out the Syndra mid potentially, or just to look more versatile around the map, why not go for the Ivan and maybe do the same thing but a little bit earlier?
I mean, it's a bit harder to say what you're looking for specifically. I mean, when you're going into Graves does farm extremely fast. That makes it harder for you to sort of set down your guard and come back a bit later to sort of pick up all the jungle camps as you normally do after you manage to let them get away. And the big problem is that Graves will sit back and go, sweet, I don't even need to wait for him to come back. I'm just going to clear this as he comes through. And it does get a bit difficult over time to sort of deal with someone who's so fast at clearing. So it makes sense, you know what, let's just go a bit safer. Let's pick up the Rek'Sai.
I like the idea that it could be a response to that Graves and playing Rek'Sai in this competition. Remember, it is a grand finals. Like, this is the moment to get top seed in the OCS to OPL promotion tournament from the OCS end is huge. I mean, you could have the easier matchup going through that reverse gauntlet. I would like to see, Outlaws prove themselves here because they have still got the standard team. They have lost no one for their roster, and it still looks like Chaz is making a really good impression joining their lineup. So Outlaws look to be potentially more experienced lineup coming through.
They definitely do have the advantage there, not because they only have that red side pick at the moment with the bans being lost, but the big thing is they've been together for the entire time. They've really worked their way up to these finals. Regicide have that shaky start, have some players that really need to make it work, but what they do have is those ex-LPL players. And what's good about that is it means they know how to play, they know their roles, it means they can jump into it, fit well pretty much anywhere they go, and that is a good asset to have in a team that has that sort of experience.
Now, while we are looking at the Outlaws lineup, we've said that in the past they've been able to play from a deficit. But Mendrix, I mean, obviously you don't want to play from a deficit, but does this composition allow for them to get behind in early to mid-game?
They have a lot of lane priority. Both these teams have built a lot of lane priority, so they can't really have that aspect where, okay, we're behind, it's fine. We've got someone who's scaled towards that late game. Both of these teams are fairly even in that regard. So like you said, you never want to play from a deficit. It's a great trademark to have, to be able to play from deficit, come back and take the game. But really, when you do start going up against those teams that don't drop their lead in any form of the way, you're really in a lot of trouble. So these guys really do need to step up, take it to that next level, and actually get the advantage first.
Now, Regicide, of course, coming back to the other side of the rift. On blue side this time around, believe they do get red side in the second game. How is that going to change, their pick and ban phase? Because it feels like here it went fine for them. They got the Vladimir that seeped through at the very end. They did get the Nautilus, they got their front line, and even the Graves. Losing bans didn't really feel like it was an effect for them here.
You never want to lose bans. Let's just make this first thing
I think
straight.
I agree with that, yeah.
Because the big problem is that it still is something that sort of inhibits creativity for you specifically. Because the thing is, you want to be able to ban out specific champions on that side. That means the enemy team will probably get the picks that they want to have. And you're sort of sitting there going, all right, well, yes, we're going to have more picks available on our side as well, but we're not inhibiting the enemy, but they're still inhibiting us. So really, they may look to have a great draft composition, but it couldn't be the best draft composition to put together because they still don't have all their options available, all their resources that they want to go for.
Potentially they get something better in game number 2, but as we get closer to getting into game number 1 of the grand final, I want to look at the Regicide team composition. Once again, come back to this point. Are they able to run a 1-3-1 or a 1-4, or is it, like you said, just all turret diving, no smack, no pressure, go straight in?
Both these teams have a simple 1-4 composition. You're going to be running your tanks in the top lanes or sit back. They're going to be just having a wet and noodle fight. Lovely times, basically. Just
so you wouldn't put Vladimir in a side lane, would you?
You can. You can put him in a side lane if you want to. He's got the ability to escape. He's got the ability to sort of stick to his own side and really go for a 2v1 if he wants to, but I'd rather have him getting into the middle of those team fights because really he is an initiation tool. He'll jump into the middle of a team fight, he'll drop his ultimate, he'll drop his pull as well, and all of a sudden you've managed to chunk half the HP away. And when you do have a Lulu to sort of be that a little bit of extra of insurance when you do jump into the middle of it, just ends up working out really well. So I'd like to see them keep him in a 1-4 composition.
Well, let's see if Regicide can do exactly that, and if the loss of bans, I should say, affects them in this drafting phase and in this early game. It's game number 1 of the grand finals for the OCS. Winner of this best of 3, you guessed it, will go through to top seed and a better chance of versing, the bottom of the OPL lineups coming through. So it is all on the line here. Chenny Boy just going to get caught out. New addition to Regicide. In support. Used to be a great mid laner for Avant-Garde.
That's right, Chenny Boy's also a really good ADC, and so being able to have that behind his belt means
Yeah,
it makes a great transition. So this guy really is, a bit of a jack of all trades when it comes to champions and his rosters and what he's able to do. And for him to just say, yep, no worries, I'm coming back into it, I'm going to be playing a support that's in meta is just great. It's great for Regicide to be able to say, yep, we can take away this priority pick immediately from Outlaws, who kind of have to go for the next best priority, which would definitely be that Nami.
I mean, we do have to remember, Mendrix, however, 2 of these players in the Regicide lineup have been out of commission for a while or have just sort of disappeared. With ZZZ, aka Paradise, and Chenny Boy, both haven't really had the experience coming through in a long time, so I am curious to how they perform. And Game 1's going to give us a really big indication if Outlaws are just too much for them.
it's definitely one thing to know the meta and be able to pick that champion. It's another to actually execute mechanically on that champion. And you make a great point where these guys haven't really been there, you know, in the competitive sense that much. They might have been lagging a little bit behind in how they're supposed to execute on those champions that they need to play. But I still have faith that they've got that idea of the macro game, which is something that really will help Regicide out if the game does go late.
Damn Diggity, just going to pick up his blue now, optimize into that level 3 path. Go for the Grump probably, maybe look topside, a first option available. I mean, Little Cop getting pushed against. Kind of want that Nautilus to fall behind early. Can affect his mid-game power spike.
Yeah, and what you really do normally find in this matchup is that Nautilus typically does win early. He's able just to really use his Rip type to push up. Little Cop should lose this lane, you know, specifically in that early laning phase, and then he becomes much stronger once he does pick up his Stand United. As you can see, that mini wave is already starting to build up for ZZZ, so he's more than happy to keep on pushing in, you know, as time goes on and sort of establish that early control, which might lead to an early invade for Regicide, actually make their way towards and dealing with Scam Diggity, who seems to be actually managed to pick up himself a cheeky early camp there.
Yeah, why actually losing that blue buff, I should have said. Great rotation from Scam Diggity. Was on the backside, now goes back to his red. Hasn't picked his own blue buff up yet, however, why not really picking up on that? So a very indicative play coming through from Outlaws jungler. I like the start, and I like how Scam's been progressing in this tournament.
Yeah, and it is really great when you do manage to steal a camp away from your opponent. And the big thing is that if you manage to stay above experience as the jungler, you're generally winning. Doesn't really matter if you're looking at the CS because the camps do matter differently. And really is going to be up to Wei to make sure he finds a way to get it back. Maybe if he manages to get the Raptors, that'll be a nice advantage for him as he's able to sort of rush around the jungle.
I want to pick up a point you said in Champion Select. I mean, this bottom lane has the ability to go aggressive. And it's being shown here by Rain and Willaris pushing up in this lane. Now forcing Y to come in for a gank, but Willaris is going to get caught out here. Great dash comes in, end of the line. The flashes all around, heals there as well. Chenny Boy almost goes down. Great heal from Kedu, and Willaris has to flash out.
Really liked how both players or both teams played that out there. A lot of summoners used across the board. Their Outlaws wasted a lot more in that situation, so a bit of a net win for Regicide, which means I wouldn't be too surprised if Wei makes his way back down after getting himself. It's going to be interesting with Wei, because I'm saying make his way down. Like Wei of Wei. Where is Wei of the Wei and his Wei?
Oh, wow.
Speaking of Wei, looks like Nautilus is making his way here into Shen now.
Doesn't have the Shadow Dash, just used it. Too easy for Paradise. Still a top lane presence.
Yeah, and that is just typically what you expect to happen. The Nautilus does win that lane out. What Little Cop should have done is played a bit safe, made sure he avoid the majority of those Riptides, just let it slowly push into his lane, and he would have been fine. But now that Nautilus has managed to pick up an early kill, it's going to be very tough for him for the rest of the game.
You can see Wei is getting heavily counter-jungled here as well. Scam Diggity presenting himself every single waking moment in Regicide's bottom side, top side jungle. I mean, it doesn't matter where. Just focusing on getting way behind.
And it's good, that's what you want to do. I mean, Graves typically, he will outpower farm you as time goes on. And this is what I was talking about. You really don't want to lose these Raptors. They really do give you the most amount of experience throughout it. So he's finally striking back, getting a little bit of vengeance against Scam Diggity, who's going to be a little bit slower as time goes on until he actually does manage to pick up his Tiamat, which seems to be the way he's going at the moment.
Yeah, I like the response there, Mendrix. I mean, Scam Diggity getting a taste of his own medicine. Wei not going to let a couple of camps bring him down. Positions himself up topside, but you can see Little Cop forced underneath the turret again. That first blood going to affect this Shen so dearly. Slower on the level 6, slower on the item spike of the Sunfire, unless he goes for the Spectre's Power. But right now, Bammy Cinder for Nautilus at 6 minutes.
Yeah, having that is a really big deal. It means it makes it easier to push in, but there's more action happening here.
All right, a lot of damage. Great Acro Prison Exhaust is there. Glitter Lance doesn't land. The auto attack is not enough. Chenny gets it. And that was a little bit cheeky.
You can see Chenny was actually trying to let Kedu get it as well. So these guys really are doing great at the moment. We said there were some worries about synergy, but already seems to be good in that bot lane. We're worried about them being a bit rusty. Seems to be fine in that top lane as well. So Regicide are looking fantastic at the moment.
Great early gold lead as well, almost amounting to 1k. Johnson struggling a little bit in the mid, however. Unleashed Power's there. Damage follows up. Ignite not used. Potentially could have looked for the kill, but it will be enough to try and force him out of lane. Johnson's still happy to stay there though.
Yeah, he did have that Negatron cloak, which does allow him to sort of sit back for a little bit, make sure he does get his sustain up and going. I think he had a fair amount of consumables as well. So you should be okay, but
Scam
He found
almost window
Scam.
shopping
Wow.
here. Going for the ultimate does knock him in the air. Stand United's there. Enough to force an ultimate out of Little Cop. ZZ will take that.
that is such a big deal as well. I mean, they managed to, he used his ultimate, but we're talking about a global that was used. All of a sudden, Outlaws cannot be aggressive in that bot lane, in that mid lane. Johnson's jumping onto Chaz.
Going for the aggressive there. Finally, the Ignite Sengoan pull used, and the Hemo play not really going to give much health back. Great Ignite. Might actually force Johnson out this time.
Yeah, it would be intelligent for him to jump on out of there. He does have those pots struggling once again. Oh, but Laris has been found.
Acro Prison misses. Great dash from the Graves. Will heal himself back up with the ebb and flow. Regicide forced to get out of the jungle.
And he's just saying that, you know what, they realized, hey, where is this mermaid on the map? She's not in this bot lane at the moment. I think we need to be a bit worried for Johnson, who's actually managed to get himself quite healthy once again. That sustain really strong. And I brought it out. Oh, here we go.
Collateral damage forces Way to flash, and Scam Diggity gets a bit more jungle priority. Way no mana. So if he's going to contest this with end of the line, he does get it in the end.
Still very pesky for Scam Diggity to go through and force the smite that way. He's taking a little bit of damage from Chenny Boy then. That Lulu does pack a bit of a wallet, managed to pick up a bit of, I think, ability power quite early, and as time goes on now, just setting up some control in that dragon area.
I mean, honestly, it's been such a bloody early game. So many attempted engages. Outlaws not falling too far behind after those 2 kills, which is good to see. Even Shen pulling up some CS up in that top lane. We said that Little Cop, his laning phase wasn't the greatest, but has been improving this split. And for him to sort of come back and even up the CS margins is a big measure up in that top lane.
And we mentioned before that he had to use his Stand United to save Scam Diggity before, so a lot of pressure lost around the map for Outlaws. It will be coming up shortly. Johnson's trying Chaz again.
Unleashed power. Chaz does have a quarter of his mana bar available. Johnson not going to get the range, but the second transfusion is ready, so he'll be able to sustain this up.
And he's going to sit back. He'll be fine to actually just continue using his sustainabilities to get there while he's whittling away at Chaz. Sort of the battle of attrition will start to be favoring Johnson as time goes on, unless Scam Diggity has something to say about it.
Great. Scatter the weak, looking for the knock-up. No! Scam! Too late! Uses a flash for it as well.
We mentioned this in Champions, so like he needs to be able to get the knock-up before the pull goes off, and that is clearly what happens when you don't get that advantage. And a flash down, that's a lot of pressure lost as well. But here we go, Johnson.
Flash for the Hemo Plague, looking for the Tides of Blood. Braceseeker gets a bit of damage, but you can see that the health regain is too much. Way is here as well. Collateral damage, gets some AoE, but not the kill. And it's too many close calls. Chaz, if he stays, he could die!
I was about to say, close but no cigar there for Graves, but Ezreal able to get everything at the end there. And it's a normal saying. It's absolutely fine. And yeah, this game is just going to continue. Regicide really taking control.
This is going to be massive for Kedu, however. I mean, he's already competed on CS, has been pushed back in that lane early, but now a kill and an assist. His bottom lane starting to scale, has the tier, the pickaxe coming through as well. Might just rush the Manamune when he goes back.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a power trough moment as well. And a lot of damage coming out there.
Lara's confident he can sustain it back up, but no mana left in the bar. Rain at half health. He's got no way of healing back up apart from... He got Doran's Blade? Yes, he does. They will get a bit of life still, but Kedu's still comfortable, has a sustain.
Yeah, no, I think the big thing there, Rain's got a lot more mana. I think the fact of the matter is Rain should be able to push in. Now, here we go, a lot of damage coming out. Kedu's doing a good job of making sure he keeps a little bit of pressure on Rain by keeping him low on that HP bar. And it is supposed to be a power trough for Kedu at the moment. He's doing a great job keeping up with this lane bully, which is known as the Caitlyn. And really, as the game goes on, he will be at a massive advantage until Caitlyn sort of gets to that point where she gets massive when she manages to get her 3 items.
Potentially, though, the BF Sword just too much to deal with at the moment for this Ezreal. You can see that the gold is seesawing back and forth between 1k. Regicide just slowly bringing themselves ahead. A lot of resources used mid. A lot of failed expectations to be met. And the Outlaws will continue getting some chip damage on this bottom side turret. With Regicide a little bit too scared, just have to wave clear from afar.
Yeah, they are playing this right. I mean, typically that matchup should be won by the Caitlyn Nami because they do have the same amount of pushing power, relatively the same amount of pushing power.
Little Cop.
Caitlyn, she's trying.
Great smoke screen, but standing behind the minion wave there, Mendrix. I like the play.
No, it was intelligent. He sort of said back, it's too quiet here at the moment. It's far too quiet.
You know something's going to happen.
I'm going to drop a ward down and see what happens. And manages to save his life for it, but Outlaws responding in that bot lane.
True shot barrage, trying to get the wave clear, will not do so. Kedu, no mana here. Looking for the unburrow, there's the tidal wave, and the unburrow hits. Stan United's there, looking for the shadow dash, misses on Chenny Boy, goes right past him. You can see that's already 1 kill for Outlaws, but there is the depth charge from ZZZ. He won't get the lockdown, it's blocked. He doesn't get Scam Diggity, but then he pulls in a dredge line, unable to get the slow, but able to get the kill. Johnson going 1v3. The Vladimir looking for the play. It will go down. Willaris taken and beaten. No stroll for Outlaws as they have to now escape.
And for a glimmering moment, we saw the strength of Outlaws' composition. The idea that you've got that Shen, you can make those 4-man dives, you can really be effective with it, but you do need to pick it at the appropriate time. Regicide were able to collapse afterwards. Great teleport by ZZZ to follow up afterwards, and really Regicide become the victors in that situation. And just pressure everywhere now is beginning to grow for all of them.
Great use of the Stand United, however, not enough for Outlaws in that fight. Let's have a look at it once again.
So as you can see here, this is when Scam's saying, you know what, there's going to be a Shen ultimate coming into it. It's going to force that there. There's a response by ZZZ. That 5 seconds is a fair amount. So they do manage to pick up Chenny Boy, but that's a support. And now you're caught between a rock and a hard place. And in between that is an anchor. So you're really going to have a tough time. Johnson does a great response to just walk down here. And this is just a typical follow-up when you're able to collapse afterwards. And this comes down to you really picking that time to make you an opportunity to go down there. Can we stop? Or really, do we have pressure on that top lane initially to force a teleport down there? No, you didn't. If in fact you lost out. And it made sense for them to say, you know what, Way's up there now. We can actually make a teleport play happen bottom. But still, ZZZ is able to teleport down as well. Still makes the same amount of trade because Chaz, he was forced out. And all of a sudden, you're in a lot of trouble because it still ends up being the same resource of what you're going up against, and you're tower diving.
Outlaws overcommitting, and they pay the price in full, the blood price. And Regicide are taking the honors from it. 2k gold lead, and already so much pressure on the map. Outlaws trying to respond it with a lane swap top. You can see how big Kedu is right now. He's gone back, he's got the Manamune, he's got the Sheen. They even get an Ocean Drake, so he's going to be able to sustain so well. You see Johnson is going nuts mid. Even Blake's there, he gets the kill. Scatter the weak, not used. Unleash power, doesn't get the kill in response.
And that Abyssal Scepter doing so much work for Johnson at the moment. The fact that he was able to weather the storm that is the Syndra early game meant that he's going to be very strong. Nice!
Oh, Kedu with the outplay goes around the tidal wave, misses the Mystic Shot, True Shot Barrage, gets Rain with raw damage, has to flash. Willaris sticks around for too long, and Regicide get another kill on the map.
And as you can see now, the control is starting to just tip in the favor of Regicide. Scam Diggity here wants to see if he can make a response. Doesn't really have anyone else to follow through. So if Regicide overcommit for this dive, they might be in trouble.
Has to be careful of that Whimsy, which can be used at any moment. There's Ace in the hole, looking to clean it up, but almost blocked by Kedu. Flashes there. Stand United used. Kedu, you're going to have to flash over as well. Where's the Unburrow? Nope, Prey Seeker to get the Rift Herald. It doesn't get the shot. Regicide do lose one.
They're very intelligent there, but Johnson, he's going to see if he can actually stop any more aggression from coming through, and that means they're going to be able to protect the Ezreal. And really, that was what we were talking about with Regicide. They needed to be a little bit more careful in terms of what was happening there. They had to understand that they didn't have the support of their jungler there. Ew, but ZZZ, he's in trouble.
No response is there. Collateral damage blocked by Shen's W, and Y just goes in for an auto attack, and now Tier 2 is under siege. The rest of Regicide are getting bullied out in this mid lane. Great
Flash
ignite.
available.
Johnson has to flash away, walking away, an auto attack. Great help, Pixie, from Chenny Boy. He will live on, and so many resources used.
Yeah, Outlaws are really using everything at the moment, not really getting advantages for it. I mean, both these guys, looking at ZZZ, looking at Johnson, just survived on a slither of HP just before. And
yeah.
Really, you could tell a lot was used to make that happen, and for them to not get the prize at the end of it is a big deal.
I want to point out something quite hilarious at the moment as Y is dying. Will not go down. Ace in the hole is available, so I'm expecting something bad here. Rain almost getting taken down, but we'll get Y. Great response from Outlaws. However, the Nautilus has a proto belt. So, okie dokie.
Okay, so I'd say ZZZ is feeling pretty good at the moment. It makes sense. It actually, look, it makes sense. So you're ahead.
Is
you're
gonna
able
use
to
it to
really
waste.
you can actually take a lot of potential in this lane. Typically what happens is Shen begins to outscale you, but in this situation with Nautilus, having a Proto Belt means he has that power spike for a little bit longer, and it does allow him to jump in. Johnson in trouble though.
Has to use the ultimate. Hemo Plague, gonna give him a bit of health back, almost jumps the gun. Johnson back to half health with Rain on very minimal amounts.
He really was playing with fire there, using his pull at the very end, and ended up getting a lot of sustain back. Seems like it feels like he already has a Spirit Visage finish, but not the case at the moment. And I want to get back to that Proto Belt on Nautilus. The big thing that you're able to do is that you're able to use the Proto Belt to jump in a little bit further.
Yeah.
Then you can use your Dredge Line.
Yeah, sure.
So there's a bit of utility merit behind it. It's definitely a cheeky build for him to go for, something
But
that you don't want to go for.
will it slow down the scaling of this Nautilus?
No, if anything, it's... I mean, it depends on which way you want to scale. I mean, if you want to scale to be a menace and continue to have
Damage
power, then
threat?
yes. If you want to be scaled to be an unkillable monster, yes, that's fine. But Chaz,
Tidal Wave Scatter the Weak, Aqua Prison, it's too easy for Outlaws. Overcommitment from Kedu costs his life.
that seems to be the second time that Regicide have really overcommitted from their bottom lane. They do have been pushing up a fair too much. You know, it makes sense. They've got the Ezreal. He's pretty good. He's pretty slippery. Walking away, using his Arcane Shift to get out of everything he needs to be, and he'd be fine in most situations. But Outlaws have a lot of lockdown, and as soon as they manage to land it, you're pretty much a sitting duck.
I mean, it is a scary gold gap right now. Outlaws almost 5k gold behind. But by getting these picks, they keep themselves in the game. And they keep their scaling composition alive. I mean, they've got the Shen, they've got the Rek'Sai, there's massive front lines there, and to deal with a Syndra and a Caitlyn late game, that's a massive win condition for Outlaws.
Yeah, Caitlyn is definitely a big win condition, but Ezreal does scale a bit differently in regards to it. I mean, the big thing that Ezreal has over Caitlyn is a little bit more utility in terms of being a move around the fight. Has burst damage as a better option if you do manage to land that. Oh, they found the Rolaris.
Depth charge is coming through. He has to flash over the wall. Will get the Dredge Line. The line of sight, the Proto Belt used the Surge Proficiency. I don't think he used it then. Like,
He
it's
did it,
just
he
giving
did it.
him so much damage.
He's just got a lot of damage at the moment. It's like you said, he's just able to continue pushing that pressure on. And wow, Chenny Boy's just doing so much now to put control. He's sitting there going, no, this is not your jungle. This is my jungle. I think you need to watch out there, Chenny Boy.
He's used to being mid-Mendrix. He's like, I don't know why I'm not doing
He's
damage.
still there.
He doesn't care. Like, he's actually just sat there for the last 4 minutes.
Oh, that is funny. For him to just sit there and say, this is my jungle. I am a roaming jungle camp at the moment for you Outlaws.
His next role. He's gone
Your next
from
role.
mid to 80 carry
To jungle camp.
to support.
To
now
support?
to jungler.
Oh, it's a jungle camp. There we go.
Next to jungler. We might see a role swap coming
A
through.
bit of Nunu Smite coming through there, maybe.
Oh, the old days, season
The old
three,
days, season 3.
or
Oh,
4.
it's actually got a little bit of popularity now as well, so
Oh.
interesting. It isn't fun to be the ADC when that happens, but it does happen from time to time.
Johnson actually starting the 1-3-1. You can see the rest of the members of Regicide were looking to push through the mid. So not going with old ways, maybe making use of Paradise up in the top lane. They will rotate. They will look for the siege to continue. The bottom turret is low as well. So it's not looking great for Outlaws in this first game. Mendrix, I am concerned. I'm wondering how they can come back from this because it's a 7k gold lead now. Regicide are not letting up.
So Outlaws have really good pick potential and they have really good turn potential. And what I mean by that is if Regicide do overcommit trying to get these objectives, Outlaws have all the tools they need to really jump in there and punish them for it. I mean, if you decide to overcommit for a kill, Shen will protect them, follow up with a taunt. If you decide to overextend a stay when you do go for a siege, you can be picked out by the Syndra with a long-range stun and then followed up with an Aqua Prism. So there's a lot of abilities Outlaw have to sort of stall out this game, really hold out the siege of Regicide. If they can take it late, they still have the opportunity to win.
But for a sieging composition like Regicide, picking up these Ocean Drakes going to be beneficial. That's the second one going over to them, with the next one being Mountain. And you've got an Ezreal who's just finished his Triforce. You've got Vladimir mid, who's got his Proto Belt. So double Proto Belt composition. For some reason, the Nautilus has 3 items already. And is, beating the Shen in farm. Expected, but not by this much.
Yeah, he is really strong at the moment. I mean, 4-0-1, really a shining light. Seems to have just come back like riding a bike, I guess he's trying to say at the moment. He's still has it. And look at him go there. I mean, what he's going to do now is just continue to split push in side lanes. No one can really handle him. They have to send at least 2 members. And for him to also have a Proto Belt means he has some escape potential as well. He can CC you up with his Dredge Line, or actually not CC up with his Dredge Line, with his passive. He can then use a Proto Belt to gain some range and then follow up with an a dredge line to the wall to really escape any possible pressure that's put on him with 2 members or even 3.
And just putting him in the side lane just grants so much more wave clear. I mean, this whole lineup of Regicide ahead in farm, only one really suffering is that bottom lane. I guess you could call the jungle camps out as well. But Kedu behind in CS, a good moment for Rain right now. I mean, he's able to defend mid, set up his traps. He's looking for his either Renan's Hurricane or might go for the dueling build, but expecting the AoE damage, I guess you could call it, or the distributed damage maybe.
Yeah, the distributed damage. Both these teams do have a bit of distributed damage in themselves. I mean, you've got the Nami wave, you've got Caitlyn when she does finish with the Hurricane. There's a lot of options available. Johnson, though, he's jumping in it.
Quake Flash goes in. Tidal Wave is not going to hit him. However, going through collateral damage, Willaris gets destroyed, but Chenny Boy, his stay in the jungle is over, and they will trade 1 for 1.
So support for support there, but you did lose a lot of damage. A lot of HP on the side of Outlaws, which is going to allow them to continue the siege. ZZZ just been an absolute menace in that bottom lane.
He's 2 levels ahead of the Shen.
Oh, here we go. Here's the move.
Goes in for the dredge line, locks him down. Proto Belt misses, but the depth charge is a point and click. Locking down Chaz is the next goal as Y gonna take a couple of tower shots, gets the ignite flash from Kedu. He gets a double kill. Now looking for Little Cop, who is just getting demolished. He's not enough of a front line. Will be taking up the turret with his Nautilus. A triple kill for the Ezreal Ashmane. Keep it coming, they say. Willaris is back alive, but for how much longer? Looking for another ultimate. The Sanguine Pool is going to help, and Kedu is just too big. This guy is an 80 carry to remember. They want to get into the OPL. They want to shut everybody down, and that is an ace at 23 minutes.
And Regicide just do that clinically towards the end. They do lose Johnson, but he does overextend. He does put a lot of pressure to make sure they can get the objectives, which at the end of the day, this is what this game is about. Game of objectives. And really, Kedu just popped off there. A really nice rotate from ZZZ to get in there, allow him to get what he needed to do. Love the use of the Proto Belt just to quickly clean in them out.
Kedu arcane shift and it annoyed the Raptors enough to slow Z down.
Just sort of playing with him a little bit there. He goes, you know what, fine, I will kill them.
Chenny Boy is so annoying. Like, it's actually beyond annoying for Scam Diggity right now to get his own jungle camps. He's slowed down. He is actually slowing down in CS, and Y is catching up. Along with these kills, along with these assists, you can see the gold difference between these 2 junglers is massive. That is 1,200 gold. Top lane, my word, have you ever seen a bigger disparity, Mendrix?
Oh, it's, you know, from time to time.
Yeah, you know, 4K. Yeah, just
a
under
few
4K.
times around. It's, you know, I've seen quite a few. I watched quite a few games, so there are times when the top laners are absolutely ridiculous. I have seen big, but this is definitely one of those outlier games when it comes to being in the top lane. And ZZZ is doing a great job.
Well, Mendrix, Regicide. Let's look at this. That's 11K gold lead. It's gone from bad to worse for Outlaws. Regicide capitalizing on every single move. They're looking to do it again. Scam Diggity locked against the wall, doesn't get locked down. Tidal Wave is the response. Scam Diggity may get his red.
He does.
The Baron is up and available.
He did get it as well. It was a nice smite towards the end there, but the typical thing is when you force out smites, if you don't have your second one ready to go, Regicide can just jump straight onto that Baron, and they've got control of this red side jungle for Outlaws. You can see they're trying to push in there. Outlaws are trying to hold on to whatever they can at the moment, see if they can get a few more out themselves, because they know the moment that part of the map goes black, that Baron is going down.
I mean, vision control right now has to be a concern for Outlaws, only able to get into their own jungle, but no further. Johnson will take blue. They know he's there. Could be a response for Regicide, Outlaws to push Regicide off of this Baron. They might just secure Scuttle, back away, look for this Mountain Dragon. It's still a massive deficit, so they're looking comfortable. They don't really have to force anything right now.
They don't. They just need to continue strangling out Outlaws as they are doing at the moment. Really continue to hold on to this control, push it through. Johnson, he's looking for something.
Looking for the play 1v2. This vitamin is massive. Stand United has to be used. Hemo Plague does so much damage, and Y is just there to clean up the pieces. Z will pop the ultimate. Depth charge says hello from the depths. Coming through. Proto Belt doesn't go over walls. Nautilus, a double kill already. Regicide looking to clean this house, and because it's so dirty, Outlaws have to run for their lives. Regicide, Johnson, he just cannot be stopped right now. There's so many members you have to deal with. It's going to be 2 kills, Mendrix, and potentially the game.
Yeah, just the accumulation of resources over time allows them brute force, but here's the response.
Shadow Dash, Tidal Wave coming through. It's a 4-man knockup, but it's not enough. Kedu is still alive and well after taking the Wild Growth. Will get his first kill. Second one will get with the help of Johnson, and it's a clean sweep with Regicide taking us by storm. They've still got the lineup. They've still got what it takes to potentially go into first seed in this grand final.
This is a dominant, this is a textbook performance by this Regicide new roster, and for them to just jump into the OCS like this with these new players, just to do it and say, yep, we're fine, we're here, we're still going to be doing as we were before, really showing Outlaws that they're very strong at the moment.
I guess it doesn't take Paradise going on an actual carry to carry. Is that safe to say?
That is safe to say. I mean, you know, if you do put him on a tank, he's still probably going to play him as a carry.
He built a proto-belt Nautilus. Who does that? It's a grand final of the OCS, and this guy's coming back fresh out of play. Sorry, fresh off of play. I don't know. It's like, are you on the wagon? Are you off the wagon? He hasn't played in so long, at least in a competitive environment, and he pulls out proto-belt Nautilus?
It really is a testament to his confidence.
Yeah.
For him just to say, yep, I am back in this game. I'm going to build proto belt because I know I'm ahead. I'm going to solidify this lead. I'm not going to throw it away. And it's so confident for him to do that because typically when you do decide to build damage, you end up losing out in the end.
Well, first game taken by Regicide. Let's see if they can do it again or if Outlaws still have some kick, some fire in them. We'll have a 5-minute break, but with the grand finals, we'll be right back.
That was okay. That was okay.
Welcome back to the Oceanic Challenger Series Grand Final. You're with Hysterics and Mendrix, and we just saw Regicide take a very convincing game number 1, and we're thinking that potentially the advanced superpower duo is back.
Well, the superpower duo is definitely there.
Even though they weren't in the same lane.
Jenny Boy did play well in that bot lane. Definitely very well done by ZZZ, aka Paradise. He performed pretty well as well, going for a proto belt.
Yeah.
That was
I don't know if I'm a fan or not. Like, it's good because it worked.
Look, it makes sense. I mean, like, it gives you a bit of
It
extra wave,
makes sense.
gives you a bit of extra power in lane. I mean, typically you don't want to build damage when you are playing Nautilus because what happens is you're not going to be as tanky as you are. And when you do dive into a team, you tend to just get blown up a little bit easier. So it was a bit of a risk. It definitely gave him a lot of reward and allowed him to solidify the win for the rest of the team.
Definitely Surplus is a surprise factor coming through for the Nautilus top. We're going to see if Outlaws can bring it back because we know they've been able to play from deficits in the past. Obviously, that's a big deficit to play from. But if they can pick maybe a team that can actually scale up or maybe have a bigger early game presence, which side of the scale would you pick if you're Outlaws?
Right now for Outlaws, I feel they had all the tools that they needed to win the last game. They had all the resources. I mean, they had the extra bands. They had they had Red Side with extra ability or extra champions available to them. So I really feel at the moment they just need to step up. They need to go, this is now or never. If we want to go to this promotion tournament, we need to take it to the level that Regicide are playing at now. And Regicide have this typical team with some extraordinary mechanical players who are just slotting in well, synergizing really well off the bat. Outlaws just need to show them that they have a team that can be competitive and deal with what they bring to the table.
Well, as we move into Champions Select once again for game number 2, it's all on the line for Outlaws. They need to pick up a win to at least stay in this Grand Final Series. Otherwise, it will be the second seed going into that promotion tournament. We've seen the standard bans, my word of the game apparently, coming through. Fiora, LeBlanc. It's taken away from Johnson, taking away from Paradise in the top lane. I understand that, but they had so much more to flex in the last game anyway.
Yeah, really, ZZZ showed us that he can play tanks, even though he does put a little bit of a twist on it.
Yeah.
And so he does have his options. He does have that variety available to him. So it's going to be a bit tougher than simply target banning these players because they might have thought, hey, they haven't been back in a while. Maybe they've got a shallow champion pool, but that, as we can see clearly, that's no longer the case. So it really does come down to them saying, are we going to go lane priority again? And really use that as our leather to push this game to an advantage. Because they had a lot of lane priority to begin with. I mean, you had a Syndra, you had a Caitlyn, you had everything you needed in that previous game. So it's kind of hard for you to switch it, going full late game, and just have maybe, you know, a Lee Sin to sort of prop you up and keep you alive. That's an opportunity they can go for. But it's so hard when you beat it so decisively with lane priority.
And if it didn't work for them, I mean, then I don't expect them to try get full lane priority. Maybe go for something that scales a little bit more and just can sit back. That seems to be Outlaws' playstyle in the lanes coming into this best-of-3 series. You can see that this time they will get the Lulu first pick, taking away from Chenny Boy. They took Johnson's Vladimir, and that was a big threat. But to respond with it and say, let's get rid of Rain's Lucian, I mean, that still kind of hurts Outlaws.
Yeah, you didn't really actually see the Lucian get played. It's something that's good. Well, you know what? We understand he's a strong champion at the moment.
He's been great on it before, though.
And exactly, he's been great on it before. But it all comes down to, well, he doesn't need to change it. I mean, he's warmed up now on those other champions he could go for. It still opens other things as well. Ezreal, something he could go for again. I would have liked him to actually maybe take that away from Rain, ban out the Ashe as well, force him onto something else if possible. It's going to be tough, really, with this Regicide side.
Well, Kedu gets Ezreal once again. I think my words are going back and forth today, but Y has the opportunity to pick up his Graves, looked comfortable on it. Why change it? I mean, Regicide looking to draft a similar team composition.
That's right. I do like how they've managed to ban away Rek'Sai as well. We did see Scam Diggity do a great job early, put a lot of pressure onto this Grave, so he wasn't able to really push out and be that farming monster that he likes to be. Now they're sort of forcing Scam Diggity onto something that needs to be a bit more, I guess you could say, relaxed. And I would like to see Lee Sin does do well into him as well, but Ivan is still his pocket pick.
Definitely agree with the Ivan pick. I mean, has had so much success for Outlaws in the past. Looking at a member like Chaz, the Orianna is a must ban, and by him getting that through could be a window for now the Outlaws lineup.
So they've got a Lulu and they've got an Orianna. So this suggests to me that they're putting together a dive composition. They're putting someone that they're going to put the shields onto.
Maokai?
No, I prefer Nautilus.
Do you?
I do prefer Nautilus.
With Proto Belt?
Not with Proto Belt. You need to go full tank if you're going to do a dive composition, but I do prefer that.
Shen.
Or a Shen. That's 3 shields. So if I was Regicide, I would be banning away Kha'Zix and Rengar right now. Because
What about Kog'Maw? Does Kog'Maw work into that comp?
Kog'Maw does work with that comp. Kog'Maw works really well into that comp. So I'd be either banning Kog'Maw or I'd be banning Kha'Zix and Rengar. Because really, it does give you a lot of opportunity for things that you can do when you have those two on the map. So
Very suspicious.
Outlaws can really just work off those 3 champions now, just purely the 3 that they managed to pick up. So that's a really big deal. Regicide have that more typical team composition, more well-rounded. They've got that lane bully and the Syndra. They've got his fast farming jungler Graves, who's been doing really well in the meta at the moment. And Ezreal, who's a self-peel ADC. He doesn't really need a specific support to keep him alive. He can just sort of remain in those team fights and do well. We saw Kedu perform already on him, so it makes sense. He's already warmed up, might as well keep going.
Exactly right. Kedu has gone between the Ashe and the Ezreal, and both have been really successful. And in the team fighting stage, I mean, the guy's positioning is probably one of the best in the OCS, if I dare say. As we look at now the second ban phase, they're looking to take away the safety of the Caitlyn. Zyra response for Chenny Boy. And I'm curious to see if they actually start putting priority on something like you said, maybe the Kha'Zix.
And it makes sense for them to actually ban away Zyra as well on the Outlaw side. And the reason
Outlast.
why... On the Outlaws. They need to Outlast. And the reason is just because when you do have the ability, which is that rampant growth from the side of Zyra, her ultimate, it is really this big disengage. It works well as an engage sort of tool if you do manage to land it, but it's better as a disengage because as soon as everyone tries to pile in, she just drops it immediately underneath her team. You either A, have to scatter or try to survive through it. And really, if there's a 5-man knockup because of it, you're in a lot of trouble.
Well, no top laner or support pick yet for Regicide. However, we have seen a couple of sneak hovers. I want to look more at when Outlaws get their turn to pick because they've got a lot that we're waiting for. The expectations are there, but Regicide, of course, still building that similar comp. By getting the Syndra this time around, I mean, Johnson looks more comfortable on that Syndra. But I'm glad he's finally stepped up. I mean, Game 1 was a great example of how dangerous he can be. And now with a Karma running around in that Regicide lineup, safety's there as well.
The Karma decided to get out of there. That's why you don't talk about the good old hovers. There is going to be a
I used my side vision, Mendrix. I was like, I've got it. I've got it. It's blue and green. It's Karma.
No, it's all good there. I mean, close enough. I mean, you had an educated guess at it, but Nami is going to be there.
Still survivability there.
And I mean, again, it's still a strong lane. I mean, you do have Ezreal. Nami as pretty much facilitates the same role as a Lulu. I'm having issues with my words today as well. So Nami is still strong in her own right. Good against the Lulu because, again, we had this discussion last time where they mentioned if you got a lot of poke, that's fine. You can just deal with sustain, and that's what Nami brings.
Scam is going to bring the Lease into the party, however, with the last pick coming through for Outlaws. And honestly, you're looking at an 80 carry. Is there a chance of a Kog'Maw? Like, can you protect this more?
I mean, it's something you can go for. You could even go for a Draven.
Yeah,
or
that
a
works
Vayne.
as well. No, it's going to be Draven, man.
Alrighty, this is going to be interesting. So it makes sense. Draven is very strong if he's able to get himself into a middle of a team fight. When he's got that much protection, he can continue to catch his axes, really be uninhibited when he goes into the team fights, and really go ham as Dravens like to do.
And I feel like there's a lot of protection down in that bottom lane, a lot of sustain that can come out of the Bloodthirster Draven build. Curious to see if they go for that lethality or something else. Let's see if we finally get the Paradise special. No! You know what, Mendrix? It doesn't matter about hovers here. Paradise is a Riven main, but he's going to play the Gragas top.
Okay, so we mentioned before, is he going to continue to play his own style? I would have loved to see the Riven. I think you were looking at me smiling. I was grinning when I saw the Riven hover. And I was thinking, oh, here it is. It's finally going to happen. Didn't end up happening. Gragas still very strong, rounds out the team that Regicide put together very well. I mean, they've got their tank now. They've got their fast-clearing ADCs. They've got double ADC comps, which is going to scale really well.
You can run Protobelt on this champion as well.
You can run Protobelt on this champion as well. So I think maybe he just seems to have an affinity for Protobelt at the moment. That's why he's picking up these champions instead. And really, Gragas does bring a lot to it as well because he's going to be able to sit back, sustain through most of it. And he has a lot of control, a lot of bullying potential early on.
Speaking of bullying, I like Outlaw's comp a lot better this time around. I mean, the front line is a bit more basic. And playing around on Scam Diggity's Lee Sin has been a strong suit of Outlaws in the past. So now we've got to ask ourselves, is it enough to stop Regicide? Because they just looked convincing in game number 1.
Yeah, they really put it on a clinic, really showed us how you do play out a game. They just immediately did their rotations when they saw the opportunities to do so and just took the win immediately off the back of it. They managed to break into the base and just won the game right there and then with that lead they had built over time, just choking it out, putting the pressure on. Chenny did a great job of just establishing control around the jungle, making it hard for Outlaws to really claw back any form of control. And That's what happens when you lose control of the map. It becomes such a hard game, an uphill battle to get back into it.
Name of the game is definitely control there, because I can sense that in that early game, Scam had not much of it. It was honestly just Y walking around and taking his camps, or at least pressuring him out of his side of the jungle. Scam tried to get a response, but what needs to change from these two junglers? Because when they face off, it seems like Y is the better jungler.
Early on, Scam did okay. It was towards that mid game that he started struggling a little bit, and it does come down to the fact of it does come back to the rest of his team. You need to have control in your lanes if you want to keep up that aggressive invade style, because in the end, if you continue doing so and you don't have lane control, you're just going to get collapsed upon by the other laners, and you're going to give up more than you're going to get every single time. And that allowed Wei to continue farming up. He still remained relevant while Scam was doing a good job of getting around and getting some cheeky control where he could. But in the end, Graves does just farm up a Storm. And then for him to come back and start taking his camps, specifically the Raptors, which give you the most experience, you want to really get your hands on that. It's so annoying as a jungler to lose your Raptors against your opponent. It just becomes an uphill battle from there.
And this time, Nami coming down in the bottom lane for Regicide. Curious to see if there's still as much priority with Kedu as there was before. Did fine in the 2v2 lane. Like, he's actually just a really good laner.
Yeah, he was doing great, especially with that initial arcane shift over the wave at that point in time. Really allowed them to take control on that top side at that point in time, because really that was a whole ultimate negated just with your E ability timed at the right point. It looked as if he was almost surfing it for a second.
It was surfing.
Yeah, he surfed, he went over it. You know what? He just thought, this isn't my wave. I'm going to wait for the next one.
You've obviously had a lot of surfing experience. That's why, like, no, this one's too big.
Just going to go over
I don't want to drown. Like, Nami stands there laughing while, like, Tidal Wave just takes you out. And Kedu has been impressing us throughout this split. And this series is no exception. Look for him to be the center of priority again for Outlaws. I mean, you got to shut him down. You got to stop him. Otherwise, he's just going to get out of control again. A triple kill last game and so much damage that Outlaws just couldn't scale tanky fast enough.
And it really was. They didn't have like I mean, they had that double front line, but then when you do go for a Tiamat, that's typically your solo. That's typically your solo queue sort of game style that you're going for. You try to farm up Storm yourself, get control that way, and then try to put your team on your back and carry them. And you can't do that in competitive play. You need to go straight tank, because that means it gives you sort of trust. You're like, I trust my teammates to be able to perform well enough so that if I do go flat tank, in the end, they will carry me through that damage. Or I will be able to give them the initiates. I'll be able to give them the positioning and team fights that they are able to do it, because I'm going to be such a threat in that front line.
It feels like Kedu wants to be a bit more of a threat, because by picking up this Ezreal and negating the Ashe, moving away from that, his priority is, I'm going to carry. And if I get ahead early, he's going to snowball a lot quicker than an Ashe potentially could. A lot of versatility there as well.
Again, what I like about Ezreal, he's a self-pill ADC, which opens up a lot more options for the rest of the team. You no longer need to sit there babysitting the ADC in team fights when he sort of sit backs, wants to farm up, wants to scale.
Just a little.
Yeah, well, I mean, just a little bit. I mean, the amount of times that you have to hear, "Where was my pill? I got no pill."
You're just like, it's like a baby in a pen, and you just open the pen a little bit. You're like, I'm going to let him get out. But I'm also going to put another fence around the pen.
Yep.
And if he gets out of that one, then no, come back. Which just, you get two fences.
Exactly. And that's what happens when you do decide to play Ezreal. Ezreal means that you can sort of let the Lush go a little bit. You can put in a third pen instead. He's allowed to go a little bit further forward.
Joining it.
So you can go a little bit further instead in terms of, Ezreal's a bit older in comparison to the other ADCs.
Let's just take the fence
He'll
away.
be okay. He'll be fine. We can cut the strings and he'll be good. And it really allows the rest of the team to go do its own thing.
And the strings are like he's got a walker or something.
No, cut the apron strings.
Oh, he's cooking.
Haven't you heard that saying before?
He's cooking now.
I'm too old. Oh, no.
Game number 2. We're having a lot of fun here on the desk. Regicide, look, they've just honestly impressed us with this new lineup. Third time's the charm. The AV boys up in the top lane. You got Paradise, also known as Z. And you got Chenny Boy down in this bottom lane, who hasn't really played support in the competitive eye before. Looking at Outlaws, are struggling to get off the ground. Little Cop on the Shen. Scam Diggy now in the Lee Sin, so a bit more carry potential.
Take it. Nah, he's not going to do it.
Yeah, that's the feeling. Like, Lee Sin, do it. You just want him to resonating strike. Do it.
So like, if you take this, you get a free...
What?
you get a free damage off. It's great. It's all good. And then you the whole rest
like
of the team.
free samples, and then you're like, but hang on. you just ate this animal, and you're like, oh, I don't eat this animal. I was going to use something, but I figured maybe I shouldn't.
You just sit there going, so what would you like to listen? Guess which, what are you eating at the moment? Is it going to be ham? Is it going to be this? He already has the blindfold on, so it's good.
It's raw chicken. Okay, Outlaws. Standard fan to start the game off. Curious to see if this Draven pick will bring him back from the dead. Kedu may struggle a little bit. I mean, we know that damage is a specialty of Draven, and the laning phase can be quite harsh, especially when you have a Lulu to back you up.
Draven actually does really well into the Ezreal matchup. This is something we didn't discuss before. Ezreal, typically, he wants to sit back, continue farming. He's going to have that trough when he does get the tier, and when you do have a mid-range ADC like Draven, he can just sit there and harass, and like immediately just jump straight away into the damage. And the big reason for it is because if Kedu does try to sort of take him on head-to-head first, he needs a bit of time to ramp up, whereas Rain, all he needs is 2 axes spinning, pop that Blood Rush, he can just go immediately straight into Kedu and stop him from actually even get a chance to use any of his combinations.
Mendrix in 7.5 as well. Remember that the changes to Warlord's Bloodlust kind of feels like it helps the Draven.
Oh, it does as well, yes.
So, I mean, it's a great counter pick of sorts, but also just a great comfort flex here for Rain. Has been a menace on this Draven before, as you can see. Top lane early. Kraken's not really finding the damage. He's level 1.
Wow.
He actually will go down here. Flash follow. Little cop in laning phase. That's a better start for Outlaws.
And it really seems to be just a different change. The shoe is on the other foot for these guys. Before, last time it was EZZ getting that triple kill. Now it's Little Cop, so he's off to a great start, and that's something you really don't want to have to deal with Regicide. An accelerated Shen means he'll get level 6 early, and here we are. Why has been bounced?
Sonic Wave does land, followed up. End of the line will get the response. Great safeguard over the wall with Valaris just getting a bit of poke damage. Ebb and Flow to heal the Graves back up, so it's okay. He has Smite available, but won't be using it on this Grom. More aggressive from Scam Diggity. Like it. Much better start for Outlaws.
And this is what we're talking about, where Scam Diggity has a bit of a decent matchup into Graves, and here he goes again.
Wow, may find him, has to flash away, goes into the wall, smites, gets the heal, but now Y is following it. You can't see Scatter the Weak because it missed. Chaz pops the ghost, but 2 members of Regicide alone. Scam Diggity's come back in, flashes through, but he's at the upheaval of Y. Will come down, and Y gets Scam Diggity, but Chaz gets Johnson. He's now in the middle of something hard. A great exhaust, a double kill. It's all going on in this river as Valaris gets Y. Shady Boy is now in trouble with Rain getting the speed up. Oh, no heal available anymore. Where's the flash? Goes for it. Valaris. Okay. What a clown fiesta that was.
Oh, that was great there. So, Outlaws, they're off to a decent start there. I think it was a bit crazy with Scam Diggity. He went a bit too aggressive.
You think?
Okay, so he had the right idea. He had a really good idea there where he managed, the idea is let's go back into it. If I land this Resonating Strike, I go in on Wei. I get a decent kill. I get a great start off it because of it. He didn't land the Resonating Strike. He took it onto the camp, which means all of a sudden he had the aggression of the camp on him. And all of a sudden, Wei was at the advantage. Now, what worked out well for Outlaws is they had control of the lanes. Because they had control of the lanes, they had a better collapse. And this is what we were talking about before. You need to have control of the lanes if you want to do these invades. Because even if those situations happen where you make a mistake, you've got reinforcements, you've got the cavalry. And in the end, Outlaws got off to a decent start.
The Scam there, tried to make an appearance mid, keep the bloodshed alive. Why will be going for an invade here? Both junglers level 4, but Scam now going to see the Graves end of the line. Does get the smite for the heal. 1 shot, 2 shot. Doesn't find a great safeguard to get away, but why showing his prominence? 2 kills. Has the Caulfield's Warhammer. Now free to roam in Scam Diggity's jungle. It's great for Outlaws that they get the kills, but they went to Valaris.
Yeah, that's true. It's something that is going to be a bit tough as time goes on. He's not going to scale up the most. He's still effective. I mean, he does get the extra shield damage. He does allow him to do a bit more in lane and be aggressive, which helps Rain. As long as he's farming up, he's going to be fine as well. So it's all right for Valaris to have these kills. It's not where you want it to be. But what I like about this is that, as you can see, Wei's still striking back strong. And are they going to be able to catch him? Well, they got the stun.
Scatter the Weak. Chaz, no summoners available. Will get the damage. Followed up by Willaris. Help picks. Will save his life this time around. But Chaz getting bullied without those summoners is going to be really scared. of this Graves.
Yeah, and Willaris is actually doing really well on this Lulu. He's been around quite a fair bit. Every single time things seem to go a little bit astray for this Outlaw side, he just seems to be there to pick up the pieces every single time, whether it be with shield, whether it be with speed up, whether it be getting a kill secure. He's there in every form that he can possibly be at the moment.
I mean, Chaz just missed 3 CS. Maybe the nerves getting to him in this grand final. Regicide already picking up a game. I mean, it must not feel good. Shockwave's going to be there with the Thunderlord's proc. Command attack doesn't reach. Turret shot will, however. Chaz gets scattered the weak again. Like, this mid lane is, of course, the priority of focus for Regicide, because Chaz on the Orianna is scary when he gets going. But if he never gets going, Regicide have nothing to fear.
It really does
maybe
come
the
down.
Draven, I
Apart
guess.
maybe the Draven, yes. And the Shen. And this 2-kill Lulu at the moment. Like, Willaris is a bit accelerated, I guess you could say. I do like how he's decided to go for that early, the good old early Sight Stone, instead of deciding to opt for extra damage instead.
Oh my god.
Because that means he's able to put some extra control, makes him a little bit sturdy as well, which means he won't be giving up any shutdown gold that, believe it or not, he's actually, getting close to accumulating. And all right, this is what happens. We get control again. Very well done. Doesn't really matter in the end. A bit slow taking that buff because he was planning to give it over to Chaz, and just allows you to sort of keep an idea where Scam Diggity is at the moment. They can be aggressive in the spot lane.
Whirling Death heal from Kedu comes through, but he's exhausted down. Spinning Axe is still in rotation as he receives an exhaust. Great stand United. Chenny will go down, a 3rd kill for Willaris. Just give it to the Lulu. Kedu has to flash away as well. Has True Shot Barrage, so Willaris has to be careful. I don't think it'll kill him.
So that was good that the ultimate was cancelled there. Otherwise, Outlaws would have definitely been able to follow, and it is going to be a bit of a different story as well for ZZZ, because I don't think he can really follow a teleport into that as well with much success, considering that, they already lost their support, they didn't have any follow-up afterwards, so it would have been just a clear free move for Little Cop to go into that afterwards.
A lot of interrupts available from Z up in that top lane. Doing fine as the Gragas, actually a bit of CS ahead, has recovered from that first blood, which Little Cop so surprisingly obtained. See, Grasp of the Undying, fantastic on Shen right now. We'll get the trading from that Twilight Assault.
And this is fine. I mean, at the moment with ZZZ, it's good that he's managed to pick up a bit of a lead, but if you look at his item build, he has gone for a bit of extra lane priority to make up for it. He's got double Doran rings, which is something that, means he has a bit of an inefficient buy. Might hurt him towards this mid game, towards this late game when he's trying to finish components and go for those more efficient buys. Whereas Little Cop, it's fine in his case. He's got the first kill, he's got that assist, more than makes up for this extra damage. And Little Cop's trying to go for another fight.
He's finally come out of the bush. Will be blocking some damage, but Z's on the wrong side. Scam is in here. Explosive cast doesn't even hit. Flashes away. Sonic Wave will hit. No! Gets a Sonic Wave on something else! No, the red buff!
Oh, no!
Is it going to finish him? Oh, horribly wrong for Scam Diggity.
ZZ says, thank you very much. I am going to get on out of here. Even expended a flash shot, and now it's Way's turn.
Yeah, he comes down in the bottom lane as a response. Rain going to look to 3v2. A teleport here from Little Cop to help them out. Will actually cancel in the end.
I was just a zoning teleport.
Potentially.
Just wanted to say, get away from my bot lane.
I mean, I feel like he could have gotten something from that fight.
Oh, he definitely could have, but he didn't have the most amount of HP, so wouldn't have been the most optimal play for him to make it. So it's good for him to actually save that teleport, get the cooldown back a little bit earlier, and really just remain in lane so that way Gragas doesn't continue to get so much of an advantage.
However, for Outlaws, this is a much more calmer second game. The series looking a lot better for them. You can see that Rain will be the aggressor in this fight, but Y is sitting on the edge of this blast cone. Regicide know this. Could be pushing up, they could just be clearing wards. Looking for Y to get in that bottom lane, but he will back off. So, like I said before, Mendrix, Outlaws, they've got a gold lead this time around, and they're not falling as hard to this Regicide lineup. You can see the gold isn't even that different. I mean, across the top side, small advantage. Jungle actually has 400 advantage to Regicide, but the Grave's always so imminent when he comes into play. Johnson going to sit on the side rush here, but slower pace of game. As I say that though, everyone's going for a fight. It will be a flash. It will be Chaz getting the kill. Y wants a response, but Chaz has actually ghosted away. So great kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, Outlaws just showing it that they can step up an extra notch there. Scam Diggity comes flying in as well to see if he can just pop his head and say, hello, I'm trying to come in. Morales very low at the moment, and really he wasn't able to make anything happen here, but that's fine. But Wei, he's found his mark.
Why actually has the collateral damage available? Going to use it. Scam. The kick too early again. There's Stand United, but look, Z's here. I don't know why use that. Rain will get a kill as a response, but I think up in that top lane, the Gragas will get his blood. Rain has to flash away. Great flash, but the response is there from Y. A double kill. Little Cop, how did he survive?
Well, he is a tanky Shen. Probably used his basically dodge damage shield that he has available to him. Dodge all that physical damage that can be put out from the good old Gragas, and just decided to walk it off in the end. And the reason why he used his Stand United right there was to give Rain that little bit of extra HP, that little bit of extra sort of scaling at that point in that fight. It allowed him to get a double kill, and it's good that he managed to get that just before he fell down. I mean, here that he goes in right now, they do manage to get a good return kill from this initially.
Oh, no.
Just great. Well, that was very well done there, but here it comes. So this is where they put all their eggs in one basket right onto Rain. All the ultimates are used onto him, and this is what happens when a Draven is able to pop off, and he's able to actually cash out on 2 kills before he goes back. So he was able to go, yep, no worries, my adoration stacks are gone. I don't mind if I die, and this ends up working out well. Outlaws off to a great start this game.
Yeah, 3k gold lead, in fact, and Scam actually retributing all of those missed kicks. They get Y, he's down. First Dragon is an Infernal. They might just push this bottom turret up, get first objective on the board, maybe go for an early Drake.
I would like for them to move for it. I think they just got their eyes set on this turret instead, so if they can actually get this wave down and make a move towards it. Relaris is also here as well.
Rain got a spinning axe, in fact 2 ready to go. Down the bottom lane, you can see a Shen ready to go with his teleport, but not going to be used this time around. Outlaws have pretty much secured this objective. Scam will take a massive shot. True Shot Barrage, Tidal Wave's coming through as well. Dissonance to get the speed up. Shockwave available, gets onto Chenny Boy. Whirling Death is there. 3-man scatter the weak. Collateral damage to Wombo combo it. And in comes Y, who's doing so much damage, but not before he can be destroyed. Rain and Y take each other out once again. Will be the Nami going down. Kedu chasing Willaris. Johnson still got enough mana. Will come over Arcane Shift. They can't kill him, however. And it is just going to be a massive 3-for-2 trade.
Yeah, Regicide played that very well there, able to sort of draw Outlaws in. They thought they were able to get that turret. I would have preferred if they did just double back. They had the inside track and Baron. They had all the control that they need. Wei was dead. All you had to do was sit back and go, yep, let's all just jump straight onto this Dragon now. Instead, they turn their eyes towards the tower there, and they put Regicide back in the game because Regicide made an excellent play to collapse them while they were diving the turret.
Yep, only 2k, really. I mean, in the minute scheme of things, it was 4, now it's 2. It's just Regicide's ability to play so conversely with each other. The communication is still there, something we have been inspired by from this Regicide lineup. They will go for the 1v1 again. Chenny Boy gets the Aqua Prism. Prism. It's an Aqua Prism. Teleport's going to come through, so that's forced out. They might just get Dragon with it.
Yeah, they got the control there as well, but Shen is also a teleport away. I think he's also a Stand United away at the moment as well. So now it's going to be a Dragon dance between these two teams. The extra there, they're jumping onto us. So they've got the extra ward control at the moment, but Outlaws know exactly what's happening.
Outlaws not going down without a fight on this one. Dragon will be pulled out and disengaged. The rest of Regicide lineup will not have any part in it just yet. It's going to do a bit of damage though, so Outlaws not capitalizing it on it just yet. But the Scuttle Crab not even taken down, so bit of pullback, bit of scarce.
Regicide were just feeling Outlaws out of that point in time, trying to say, will you fight for these objectives? You'd be surprised the amount of times if you pull the trigger on an objective, it happens. And a bit of deja vu happening again.
Exactly right, Mendrix. Tidal Wave gets 3 people. Stand United's there. Uses the ultimate Whirling Death. A lot of damage, but this time Outlaws have the upper hand. Rain happy to take some turret shots as they get the first turret on the map as well.
And we're talking about deja vu one way where the wave and it ended up being in the favor of Regicide. It was deja vu for Outlaws when Wild Growth and the Shen ultimate all jumps onto Rain and he just absolutely goes crazy.
Well be a cockball.
Pretty much, exactly right there. It is the idea. You know, you protect one single damage user. He just decides to run in there doing as much damage as he can with the full protection, the full, I guess you could just call shielding of the team behind him. And it really allows them to pop off. They get 2 objectives off the back of that. They get the first Blood Tower, and they get the scaling Infernal Drake. So Outlaws now have really strong tools, and really in this game you expect them, and it does come to them having a very strong draft. They have a very clear team composition in place. Regicide have a nice solid team themselves, but it's not as sort of focused as Outlaws at this point in time, and Outlaws seem to be making effect of that, going really well.
This time around, it honestly, the nice redemption up top actually gets rid of most of the wave.
Might have saved the turret.
Yeah, Z can't really push against this wave because Rain and Willaris going topside. It does feel a lot nicer on the side of Outlaws. A lot smoother gameplay, picking up from their lost first game, using what they've learned. The resources on Regicide haven't really been split this time around either, because Y has 5 kills and the rest of his team barely scratched 1. It's just there's no damage on Kedu right now. He's only just got the Sheen, whereas last game, it was about 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah, and if you look at how accelerated Rain is, you've got an Infinity Edge and a Rapid Fire Cannon. Here we go!
Proactive play. Rain gets the ultimate onto him from Lulu. With the Wild Growth, he will survive, flashes away. Regicide do use a lot for that, however.
Yeah, that's the strength of Lulu as well. They get out of free jail card, but they're still collapsing onto him.
We talk about Rain overcommitting, and this is a very good moment. Turret will go down, kick comes through, but Rain takes all of the damage. They do get the turret, they do get the kill. Regicide still in this game.
I love the target priority of Regicide in that fight. They understand who the threat is. They know that it is one strong Draven, but he is still squishy. He's still susceptible to being blown up if he is focused and CC'd. And they jump in there, they get the turret because they know it was low, which means they have the follow-up immediately afterwards. It's a safe dive. And they're able to get the shutdown gold as well. So Regicide do make their moves around the map, but Outlaws, they seem to be getting more control on these objectives in the end.
I mean, bottom lane turret is under siege, so is mid lane, and will go down successfully. Even Chenny Boy unable to rotate. ZZ is starting to lose out to these trades. I mean, Little Cop takes a burst of damage, recovers it, and pretty much just comes back to life. Outlaws now have an opportunity to set up for this next dragon. Will be in an Infernal. 18 minutes have passed over. We're moving into mid-game, and it's a lot closer, like we said, in game number 1.
Yeah, and these are actually really important.
God.
Oh, that's the damage coming through. I like how he's actually got the rapid fire cannon as well, because it means every single time that proc does come up, he can just grab himself a spinning axe and just throw it straight away.
Going for the more aggressive build, Infinity Edge as well. Not the BT, not what we normally see, or even going for the lethality, which has grown through, but Infinity Edge into straight attack speed, as well as that extra range. Rain is perceptive. His build has been working out for him.
Boy, it just speaks words for it at the moment. I mean, he's up in CS, he's up in kills. Kedu's doing a good job at not dying against it, I guess you could say. But
yeah,
really, you know, when you're putting so much focus onto Rain, it makes sense for him to actually be losing a little bit in terms of those kills at the moment.
2.2k
Deaths,
gold lead down in the
losing out
bottom
of
lane.
deaths.
I mean, you got to look out.
Yeah.
You know, he has only died once. However, he's so far behind. Like, that is a massive amount. There's 2,300 gold in the bottom lane.
And that's not just specifically because he's got the kills. That's also in towers as well.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got the first blood turret. It has gone through to Outlaws, and then they've also got another turret on top of that. Then with the extra kills and extra CS, it makes sense that he's that far ahead. And it makes sense that they've also gone for this lane swap as well. It typically means you can just move your resources around, continue to pick up towers where you've got the advantages, where you've got those strengths. And it is just Outlaws now moving Regicide around the map.
Yeah, forcing Regicide to forfeit this top turret. With Rain's damage going to be an easy charm right now. Y is in Scam DD's jungle, but what is their response? In mid, Chaz might be open. Scatter the Weak is there. In comes Y. A lot of damage flashes away. Johnson takes a couple of turret hits. That top turret will go down. Regicide decide to respond with mid.
Yeah, he really does need to be careful of Wei, because he can just jump in, get one auto attack, and immediately follow with a collateral damage and probably take out Chaz. Kept him smart to a degree. The Outlaws are still pushing forward, so it's just pressure on all fronts for both these teams at the moment.
Regicide happy to defend this one. Won't go to the tier 2 with Outlaws sieging it down. Instead, Shockwave comes out mid. That is the bonus of Orianna. Redemption's there. Sonic Wave resonating strike to finish it off with Thunderlords. Outlaws do get the response, but just so easy to see right now what Johnson can do.
Yeah, and that is actually well done by Johnson to actually get the trade in that situation, because if he actually did not kill Chaz, it would have been basically him dying, probably going towards the Lee Sin there. Chaz more than happy to walk away. So he did the right thing, just unloading all his resources straight into Chaz to get that kill.
Gragasop, like we said, not sustain these fights. Right now, Little Cop looking pretty comfortable. Has the Spectre's Cow built into the straight Sunfire Cape. And all this objective priority on the side of Outlaws is working in this solo laner's favor. See, burst damage, but then straight back into the farm. Gonna be happy with Grasp of the Undying. Dragon's up in 30 seconds, and next one's in Infernal. Outlaws have already gotten the first one, looking to spread their wings and go for a second. But now Y has positioned himself down in the bottom side of the map and will look to contest.
Yeah, Motorcycle really do have control of this Dragon at the moment, so they're probably going to be the ones that can actually pick this up. They've got the extra deep wards into Outlaws jungle. They've got the wave pushed in here. They don't have the insurance of the bot lane turret, but there is going to be a big crazy there, or a bit crazy to see what ends up happening between this fight, because now Outlaws are here too, saying you're not allowed to get it for free either way. So, a low contestation coming up. I expect a big team fight for this next Dragon.
4K gold lead, Outlaws definitely have the favor, and if Rain gets free Rain in this team fight, sorry, well, something big will be going on. Scam Diggity poking his head forward, goes straight back after an ebb and flow. Little Cop has Teleport and Stand United available, but Teleport for ZZZ as well. Eternal Drake might just be given over to Regicide.
Yeah, they have the control there, but here is the ultimate.
Stand United comes through, Scamdigi locked in the air. Dragon does go over, but at what cost right now? Regicide do lose one member, but in the end of the day, Rain is so big, untouched, unscathed, Redemption to heal him back up. The Gragas is going to give over even more Adoration stacks, and a Demolition Derby for Outlaws.
That was well done there. Regicide do put a lot of control, a lot of emphasis on making sure they can get that Dragon, but they were using resources like their ultimates and things along those lines to secure it, and the Outlaws find their opportunity to strike. And again, it does come into the fact that you've got that Lulu, not the Lulu, yes, you've got the Lulu, but
yes,
you've got the Orianna and you've got the Shen, and they can really make something happen if they've got someone to jump onto. Scam Diggity jumped into the heart of that fight, allowed them to get their abilities right into it, and then immediately Regicide fall because of it. So they're more than happy to give up this Infernal Drake to get the win, to get more control around the map, because they've already got one of their own.
Outlaws do lose two, however, so it's not the biggest derby that we've seen, but with Rain here, it's just too uncontrollable for Regicide.
So with that wave being used there, that's what I was talking about, resources being used to secure the Dragon. And really, you do need that wave, because imagine if you had it here in this initial fight. It allows you to actually get the kills that you want there. It allows you to stop sort of this execution of plays by Outlaws. And because it was down, and because they were able to get Scam Diggity into the heart of it, it was just free reign for Outlaws to use their abilities, get the kills, a big shockwave as well to Chaz onto some priority members, and clear win for Outlaws in that situation.
Better game too, like we said, and more priority targeting in this game, I dare say, because, you know, Rain is... I gotta think of a different word from free reign. He has freedom in
free
these
reign.
fights. Yeah, he has
free reign.
he has freedom in these fights, Mendrix. Now Outlaws are in a position to really contest this mid-tier 2, or mid-tier 3, I should say. Don't think it's there, but bottom lane will lose a turret. Regicide trying to recover what they can in this game. DZZ is tanky, but he can't do anything to Little Cop.
A lot of action happening here. Be surprised if he does take this, because that is 4 members.
Do it.
Don't want to take it. Just do it. Nah, it's okay. And I think it's a bit of a sad state for the top laners. They find Johnson.
Really good pick. Chaz gets the kill. A Scam jumps in, but he takes a lot of damage. Collateral damage with a Mystic Shot. Kedu secures the trade.
Okay, so trade for trade there. Jungler for the mid laner. That's actually a good pick up there, because it does stop Outlaws from thinking about going towards a bit of that. That is, oh my, that is a lot of damage. That was one auto straight onto a true gritted. He actually used quick draw to get away, so he actually used True Grit passive up from his ability there. So that's actually quite a lot of damage coming out of Draven. And what I want to mention about those top laners, they hit that point where it goes, you know what, we don't care about each other anymore. We're just going to clear each other's waves around each other.
No proto belt this time, Mendrix.
You know what, he's playing carefully, but
yeah,
playing a bit carefully this time.
It's not as big of a stomp as the first game, so you've got to look at Outlaws and commend them for that. But Regicide, you know, this is the grand final. This puts you into first seed. And by getting that first seed, you could potentially have an easier time in this reverse gauntlet. OCS has been testing our players this split. And none more so than Outlaws, who have been up and down in the split. came out on a high against Sin Academy in the semi-finals, but now are versing their biggest contest, their biggest trouble. And it's definitely Regicid's lineup.
And it's not just this Regicide lineup, it was the previous Regicide lineup as well. And for them to bounce back to be this competitive as well in this game is actually a great showing by this Regicide roster. And Rain, he's going to be such a problem. Because, I mean, right now he's just building up Adoration stacks. The next kill he gets is going to be big. That's a wasted Tidal Wave.
Doesn't hit Willaris, just kites around with the help of Whimsy. See that Baron is available. Regicide now warding around, just looking for the vision control. Will I be a stand united onto Chaz after Unleashed Power? Still keeping these Outlaws members alive. That 5k gold lead not changing. Dragon is up in 145. Another Infernal as well.
So yeah, so Chaz really does need to get his defensive item up and rolling. Otherwise, if Johnson does catch him out, it's going to be a repeat where really you're going to have to be using ultimates that you don't want to use at inopportune times just to save people. I mean, that's the big thing. You don't want to be wasting your waves like we saw there by Chenny Boy. You don't want to be wasting your stand uniteds to save members on a 1v1 situation. You want to be in those team fights. You want it to be clutch. And it seems to be trading between these two teams at the moment. So a little bit of dysfunction happening. What I would like to actually see is Chaz finish up. He's going for, it looks like he's finally going for that Seeker's Arm Guard. So that means we're going to see a Zhonya soon. I would have preferred either an early Abyssal Scepter, or he finished that, or actually finished off his Zhonya's Hourglass a little bit earlier, because there were a few kills there that he traded through, which he could have just avoided with a bit of itemization.
A lot of burst damage there, however. You know, going against the Syndra Unleashed Power, Graves' collateral damage, even the explosive cask, you know, can send you away. I guess the Zhonya's is just a safety item that he feels he needs to have.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I feel like he should have felt the need a little earlier, otherwise he wouldn't have died 3 times. That's a possibility there.
But Mendrix, what about now? I mean, it's okay now. Let's let him have it. Tidal Wave's going to come through, flash away from Scam Diggity. And we can't be so harsh. I mean, he's got to get it now, mate.
He's got it now, so that's what counts. He's a very big Orianna. I would like him to now finish off his good old Void stuff, so he does really hit like a truck. I think they found Kedu.
Kedu has to use the heal.
His flash as well.
Look, that was massive. I mean, redemption.
He walked back into that.
Is that my redemption? Is that someone healing me?
Maybe that's what he thought there for a second. Was like, ooh, that's a bit mine. Those rays hit me a little bit too hard.
Yeah, but because of that, because of forcing Kedu out, Outlaws now look for this Dragon. Infernal, man.
Triple Infernal.
This is going to be huge. Outlaws going to have the double. Next Dragon is going to reset into a Cloud Drake. True Shot Barrage unable to steal it. Outlaws still looking strong, still in a firm advantage, but it is narrowing. 4k now. Regicide clawing back.
And now Outlaws, that they managed to pick up 2 Scaling Drakes at this point in the game, is actually a really big deal, especially because you do have a lot of flat damages being picked up across the board for these teams in the Orianna, in the Draven, so it's going to make them that much stronger. Once they do pick up their armor penetration items and their magic penetration items, it's really going to be pretty much a freight rate train hidden from these guys. I really do love that analogy. Freight rate trains are just...
I'll let you have your moment.
Let me have my moment?
Yeah.
What's another good way to sort of make you know, this person hits hard right now?
They are a monster.
They're a monster?
They are a monster, Mendrix. Look at him. He's doing 1k
After a second,
crit.
I thought you were going to say tons of damage.
He like 2-hit the cannon minion. I mean, that guy has a family.
His father.
All the minions. The cannon is the father. All right.
The cannon's the father, really.
And all the minions. Look at this. He's like, dude, I'm at a picnic. Get off.
I feel like he's just like, this is a bad time to do overtime against these champions.
He's like, I work in the mining business, and I brought my kids. It's bring your kids to work day. For some reason in the mines, I would not recommend. Definitely wouldn't recommend.
The outside mines of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, that's it, you know.
Here we are. So these teams now sort of hit that point where their team compositions are starting to really come into play. Outlaws are going to be looking for Scam to make something happen, allows them to just sort of layer all their abilities on top of him, and that means Rain can follow up afterwards. And Regicide, they're just going to be looking for a skirmish, looking for a pick. Really just find something in the advantage. They're definitely not out of it.
All right, Mendrix, we're going to let you have your moment. Redemption's going to come down. This time it's a friendly one for Outlaws. Kedu does land a Sonic Wave after backing away. Arcane Shift, remember, does have about 10-second cooldown by now. But Bork for third item for Ezreal. So standard stuff going for the really heavy damage build. Outlaws start the Baron.
Yeah, they know the wave is down, which means they've got roughly about 30 seconds to play with before it will come back up again. And Chain Boy's been using them so liberally that allows Outlaws to make these sort of plays, to really put the pressure on. I mean, you don't have it. Here comes the teleports.
Scatter of the week, Wombo combo coming through. Unleashed Power doesn't work, but Whirling Death does. Kedu gets Rain. That's massive. Regicide have just taken down the strongest member. Do they start up the Baron?
I still don't think they would. I think there's still a lot of threats on the side of Outlaws to jump into it. However, Johnson picking up Willaris might actually give them the opportunity.
Kite King! Willaris Kite King uses the ultimate. Gonna take a bit more damage. Scatter of the week. Unfortunately, Johnson will pick him up. No. Help picks, he says. Meanwhile, Y has got Scam Diggity, so Outlaws can't get anything else apart from Kedu. That's huge. A flash comes through. Willaris will eventually go down. Regicide do find the favorable fight. Outlaws got to be careful because that gold is slimming.
All right, so Willaris, I understand you used your ultimate to keep yourself alive. That's great. Why didn't you use it on Rain when they were jumping in it? That ends up being a big deal for them to lose it, and this allows Regicide to go for the Baron now after winning that team fight.
Little Cop has teleported in. Shockwave is available. The flash comes through. Chaz is going to take a tidal wave to the face, and that ain't pretty. Baron going down slow. Little Cop is in the pit. Johnson uses the ultimate, but they pick up the Nami. Bit of sustain down. Shutdown's there. Chaz has to heal. Command Protect is a good one. They will get the Baron, and Rain just one hits the Syndra. Now going on way. What's the point of Baron if a Draven can come in and get a double kill?
It's good that they managed to pick up the Draven there, but there was a really good delay by Outlaws, really using their abilities appropriately. Chaz has done a great job of actually staying alive, managing to stop ZZZ from getting the kill on him, and now that they managed to actually get that coming through, I mean, it's still big. There's still Baron on a member of Regicide, which means they can start a siege if they want to, but with 2 members dead, I think Outlaws can actually push for an inhibitor hit.
20 seconds, now 3 members alive. ZZZ has to stay alive, only member with Baron. Sonic Wave has connected, gonna get kicked through. The flash from Kedu stays alive. Explosive cast is gonna pick up Willaris. Good ultimate coming through from the Lulu as well. Whirling Death doing so much damage. Flashes all around. The front line from Outlaws are going deep, but Kedu's still alive. Not for long. Rain picks up the Adoration, and Outlaws might pick up a turret.
I love how they put that pressure and they time it with the spawn of Little Cop. That allows him to use his Stand United. They manage to get in, they get the kill, but Regicide hold. That is the point we need to look at here. The fact that none of those towers went down is something that means Regicide do remain in the game, means they can continue to stall this out and keep themselves relevant towards that late game.
But you can see what happens when Regicide pick up Draven. If Rain goes down, Outlaws don't have much to work with here, Matrix. Like, there's a Shockwave, but a Draven that's got 4 items, counting 5 now. It's just massive. Okay, this is a lot of commitment without any damage. Scam Diggity going to walk away. Y is there. Collateral damage not even needed as the Lease in Hand feeds himself to Y. 33 minutes in this game. Regicide clawing back. Johnson, I like the BM. Now they might like the Dragon. 30 seconds until it spawns.
That's right, and that's 37 seconds or 35 seconds now until Scam Diggity comes back. So that Dragon will be up on the map before he even gets out of the fountain. And Regicide might go for another fight here.
Yeah, Wild Growth was used. Scatter the Weak doesn't connect. Wrong angle.
That's a lot of minions they've got empowered now.
Remember, ZZZ's got that Baron buff. You take him out and the minions get slightly weaker. Significantly weaker at this stage. Wave clears there. Outlaw's not going to have too much trouble. If you dare say they have one thing in their comp, it's definitely wave clear.
Yeah, just with that as well. Here comes the fight.
Wow, fully fledged fight. They already pick up Johnson, so Regicide have to be careful. Little Cop unable to be dealt with. No damage going on him. Kedu trying his best, but a Shadow Dash lands. Whirling Death's going to come through. Might actually get out here, so Regicide only lose 1 for now.
Yeah, for them to actually only lose 1, considering their situation that we're in, that was a pretty heavily engaged team fight, so they committed very hard there. I think Outlaws get the end there was pretty good. And now Outlaws can just push towards more pressure. That tower should go down. I don't think Regicide can hold. Is he stopping his back?
Don't know why he was out, but Rain will do some damage to him. You can see that the Last Whisper doing quite a lot for this Draven 80 carry. Dragon's alive, but Outlaws will have no part in it right now. Rain going for the kill. The Tidal Wave not going to do too much. Rain has so much movement speed. Exhaust to help a hand. Regicide have to defend this bottom turret, but it's on a nick of help.
Just throw an auto attack. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you for that.
That's good there. So Rain just manages to get that tower at last. And they do have the inside track towards that Dragon as well, which they do have enough members there to just easily pick it up nice and quick, so I wouldn't be too fussed if they decide to back for it, but they're jumping on Kedu.
Yeah, it feels like Kedu may be caught out here. Sonic Wave, it can land at point-blank range, we know that. There's the kick, hits a minion, however. Kedu's still potentially going to go down here. Good Shadow Dash, but it is followed up. There's the Nami for sustain. Little Cop too deep. Regicide get another kill. Gold keeps fluctuating. Outlaws just keep getting caught out.
Yeah, a bit too much pressure there put on the top lane. They dived a bit too hard for Kedu. Is a self-peel ADC, so he has that advantage to him. And really, there's just a lot of tower shots that I feel was tanked up unnecessarily by Little Cop. And even though they do manage to get some pressure around the map, they do get that kill. It's going to be a dragon for the kill. And right,
deleted Chaz. They will get the dragon as a response, but Cloud for Chaz's life. He's got 55 seconds on his life.
That's not just Chaz's life, that's also Little Cop's life. And now there's 5 members against 3 for Outlaws, and 2 of those members had really big shields for Rain. So Regicide can really just jump straight into this and actually get some objectives quickly before these guys come back on the board.
Z is going to look for the front line here. Side brush used quite well. Turret is going to go down. Mistakes from Outlaws. They now encounter what Regicide could do with them. True Shot Barrage is going to get the wave clear, and they may just try and open the base. Rain, got to be careful, Mendrix. But here's the tidal wave. There's the redemption. Coming through. Wallaris has to use the ultimate on himself. Regicide, they club, but they do get the kills. Outlaws have just not played this team fight well. Mendrix, 3 people are down, and the base is open.
And this is just appropriate decision-making by Regicide. They know that they have managed to, they've got the inside track, they've got the extra members. Outlaws do not have enough resources to hold an outright engage, and here comes the re-engage.
Maybe a bit too ambitious to finish. Shockwave misses, no! Regicide may have just opened the game for themselves. A great engage by ZZZ, and Regicide counterplay Outlaws. They are going to be your OCS Grand Final winners. This has just escalated quicker than Ron Burgundy, Mendrix.
Oh, it is just a typical sort of finish. I mean, you can't really count anyone out. You're taking your pen back off from the Koala?
He doesn't exist.
All right. Looking at what that is, Regicide did a great job of just holding on. And what that was initially was them saying, yes, we've managed to get the winning team fight. We've got the extra players. Let's push for the objective. And really the hold was all on Outlaws to make sure they could hold that line, not lose their members, buy enough time for everyone to come back. And you need to sack objectives sometimes in order to get those extra resources, to have that cavalry in place. And they didn't. They started walking in like dominoes afterwards. And Regicide were more than happy to keep on knocking them over and then end up leading to them winning the game.
Getting caught out, not really respecting the damage from Regicide. I mean, Rain was huge. You have to look back at that game, and you at home would be saying, the Draven's going to carry. The Draven is actually going to take us to a game 3. However, Regicide's so reactive, their lineup still works well, and they've got the ex-professionals in Paradise, in Chenny Boy, and they look as experienced as ever.
And it really was the fact that they had 2 of their members who provided shielding for Rain. That's the big thing. It's the ultimate from Shen, and it's also the ball as well that can go on towards Rain, that can keep him alive, that can make him effective and continue to allow him to throw out those axes. And he really just didn't have that. When you have so much more engaged pools, you've got an extra 4 set of abilities on 2 champions extra. There's not much you can do when they're pushing brute force. You give up the turret, and they ended up paying the price for it.
A very fitting way to win, and Regicide taking a 2-0 means they are your Grand Final OCS champions. That's all for the OCS for Split 1. Promotions coming soon. OPL tomorrow, Saturday live at 3 p.m. But that's it from myself, Asterix, and next to me is Mendrix. We'll see you next time, guys.